That was in 1998 when Governor Miller appointed me to the Public Service Commission and to fill an unexpired term. And I went to my first national conference meeting, and I met friends from California and New Jersey and Arizona that I kind of associated with a bit, and became interested in what was taking place in those states at that time. Just kept putting things together. Went to Germany twice on my own dime.
I think he took the time to go look at it. He went out in the field and looked at solar, and he actually saw that it wasn't just something happening in Germany or New Jersey or California, and he was willing to do his homework, and then he made a conclusion that the economics had changed drastically, and he was willing to stand up and tell other people that. And like I said, he hasn't been just a participant, he's been a true leader in it. And in government, there are not a lot of leaders.
My professor, Dr. Dentz, would say, you know, you can be a small business and you can get the ideas from the big companies that you don't have to do the research and development on. And you can steal those ideas and put them into play quickly. Well, I did the same thing with New Jersey and California. I stole their ideas, but went 180 degrees in a different direction from what they were doing, because all of theirs was upward pressure on ratepayers, subsidized state subsidies, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to make it market driven. And so looking at the market, watching the technology of solar, of the panels going like this, and the price going like this, and then look at the surrounding of the state that I'm so fortunate to live in and represent. Largest geographical state east of the Mississippi River. We had the flatlands. The land was affordable for development. Interest rates, long-term interest rates were very favorable for business to borrow money over 20 years. Put all that together, I called it the perfect storm.
Well, we founded Radiance in 2007, so it was probably in mid-2008. And we, shortly after that, began the process of creating a program called the Large Scale Solar Initiative. And Bubba was very open-minded in looking at solar. We took him out and actually showed him some solar projects. At that time, of course, they were very small. And he understood that solar was part of the future, and he understood that the economics were changing very rapidly.
Our engagement with Commissioner McDonald began in 2009. On the back porch of his home in Clarksville, Georgia. You know, I know Bubba wants to be the godfather of soul, but that's when he became the godfather of solar.
I think he was a supporter when we created the first 1 megawatt program. And believe it or not, even to this date, one of the hardest fights we've had was that first megawatt. And for us to be talking about gigawatts of solar now, that seems like a very, very small amount of solar to be debating and fighting over. But that was a very, very heartfelt fight at the Public Service Commission, and Bubba made the motion, but Bubba led the initiative. So he has been a leader in solar really from the beginning of the modern solar industry in Georgia.
The first really coming out in a program was 50 megawatts, and 30 of those megawatts went just east of Atlanta here, and 2 10 megawatt arrays went to Camilla, Georgia, or Mitchell County down there. And that was in 2011. And those were 13-cent PPA contracts, 13 cents a watt.
So I'd say the first interaction I had with Bubba was in 2012 when we initially launched 210 megawatts of solar. That was probably instrumental in kicking off the whole effort here in Georgia. In 2013, we did the 525 megawatt, which Bubba initiated, and that really kind of set us on the course of where we are today with solar in Georgia.
I didn't have time, because the IRP was coming up very soon, to go up the rungs of the ladder to get to a decision maker. So I said, I need to sit with the decision makers. And I sat down with the decision makers and gave my story about what I wanted to do. I wanted 525 megawatts of solar power in this IRP. And we discussed, I said, we can do it one of two ways. We can do it as partners, and there can be winners. Or we can do it as adversaries, there'll be a winner and there'll be a loser. And I don't like to lose. But the last thing I told them, and I learned this after 20 years across the street in the legislature, last thing I told them, I said, oh, by the way, I have 3 votes.
Commissioner McDonald was pivotal with the ASI program, particularly ASI Prime. In the 2013 IRP, Georgia Power proposed deployment of no new solar generation resources. Commissioner McDonald's motion prompted an addition of 525 megawatts for solar deployment across the spectrum of the type of solar installations from large scale to distributed generation. Had it not been for Commissioner McDonald's motion in 2013, solar development would have stagnated here, and we would not see the advances that are currently in place.
We have come a long ways in technology and development of energy in our state. Georgia leads in many, many ways. You have to have that little thick skin to get past some of the isms that you find in regulatory atmospheres or just in public life.
You know, I think the one thing that you've come to find about Bubba that's just really kind of refreshing is how approachable and accessible he is. Always willing to take a phone call, answer an email, and be invited to a meeting. You know, I think he's very receptive to learning about our industry, helping small businesses, and so, you know, I think that's the thing that most people probably don't realize, at how willing he is to really step in and help. He takes his position at the Public Service Commission very seriously, and he wants to be an agent for change.
The industry itself has been the Bible of my thoughts toward the continuing development of solar, from the technology, from speaking with the Germans years ago, and again, I follow the other states and see what they're doing, and I steal their thunder.
Bubba was instrumental and very important. I mean, he definitely set the course, he set the direction. He really wanted to put a legacy out there of diversifying the Georgia Power portfolio, and we wouldn't be where we are today without his leadership.
Bubba is a real true friend, and he has been a true leader in helping bring and create the solar industry in Georgia. And without Bubba McDonald, we would have a very, very different industry than we have today.
Georgia is the only state that has deployed solar on the basis of market-based pricing, which has shown that renewables, particularly solar, stand on their own and can compete favorably with other forms of fossil fuel generation. That permits them to become a cleaner alternative to carbon generation resources.
Well, I would like to say thanks for all your help and support. I appreciate you and all the efforts that you've done to launch Georgia's solar efforts, and I strive to have your hair one day.
Well, I'd like to say, Bubba McDonald, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your friendship, and thank you for the hard work and the things that you've done over this journey of making Georgia a leader in solar and helping us to continue to do that.
Congratulations. Love you dearly, and I appreciate all of your support.
You are well deserving of this accolade.
I want to congratulate Chairman Bubba McDonald on receiving Georgia's Solar Advocacy Award, a well-deserved honor. In 2013, Chairman McDonald realized Georgia could expand the diversity of its energy production without increasing rates. His ambitious goal was to more than double the nominal solar energy production in Georgia. It took some convincing to get his peers on board, but he was able to raise Georgia's solar production to 825 megawatts, and we've come a long way since then. The Peach State is now on track to reach 4,620 megawatts of solar energy by 2022. This represents a $1.15 billion economic impact on Georgia landowners and local municipalities. Through Chairman McDonald's measured and conservative approach, Georgia has continued to take advantage of the dropping prices in solar production, and the added solar hasn't required state subsidies or added pressure on ratepayers. Bubba, congratulations again on this award. On behalf of the state of Georgia, I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership in many years of dedicated service. God bless you.